Well, that was Union Minister Anurag Thakur, and once again he was responding to the kind of charges that were made by Rahul Gandhi when he addressed the press today. Manipur continues to be the key issue that the opposition wants to focus on, and a response that we saw from Union Home Minister Amit Shah, a response from Prime Minister himself, and now the public discourse outside the Parliament. Let's take this question to our guests as well who are joining us on the broadcast. Anila Singh, the spokesperson of the BJP with us on the broadcast, Sujata Paul from the Congress Party, Salim Dharanidharan from the DMK, and Mr. R. Rajgopalan, who's a senior journalist. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Anilaji, we heard the Union Minister, we heard the speeches of Union Home Minister Amit Shah and the Prime Minister himself. The opposition continues to demand stringent action against what has happened in Manipur. And their key understanding is that whatever the government has done or even said on the floor of the House is not enough. And whataboutery on an issue like Manipur does not work. Anilaji.
My ram to all, and definitely when they talk about whataboutery shouldn't happen, but how can they say this thing that whatever happened in other states or what happened earlier shouldn't be mentioned in today's date? So people should also know what is happening in other states and what happened earlier. So both the government center and the state governments, they are totally involved in getting peace and harmony prevailed in Manipur. All the actions are being taken. That is why we see that the violence has been controlled. So number of deaths have also reduced. So people are trying to get back to their normal life. So the worry of the opposition that whether Manipur is going to be stabilized or not. So I have to convey one thing, and which the honorable ministers have also conveyed on the floor of the parliament, that yes, the situation in Manipur is under control, and in near future everything will be fine. The only appeal is that the political parties who do not want that the situation should get normalized in Manipur, they should restrict their actions.
Anilaji, is that charge really something that you'd like to respond to? That it is actually some political parties like the Congress Party which do not want normalcy in Manipur. Yesterday, I don't need to quote you the speech of the Prime Minister, I'm sure you heard, that how certain optics were used when Congress leader Rahul Gandhi visited Manipur, and it was quite deliberate for him, and Union Home Minister Amit Shah also mentioned about it, that it was deliberate on his part to stage certain antics or optics. How do you see that attack? Sujata ji.
First of all, I don't agree to this, and I take strict objection to the manner in which Manipur is burning, and you are saying that these were optics. Might I remind you that in 1966, let me finish, please.
Yeah, finish your point, yes.
Yes, thank you. In 1966, it was the Mizo National Front rebels that had taken over Aizawl, and that is the reason why the Indian Air Force, our brave forces, was sent to Mizoram. The Mizo National Front rebels ran for their lives, and we saved Mizoram. So when lies are being peddled, especially by ministers, they should be ashamed of themselves. When we talk about Manipur, Manipur is burning, and what did the naked king do? He stands exposed. He jeered, he laughed, he mocked, he made fun of the people of Manipur. He made fun of our sisters when he spoke for 2 hours, 13 minutes, and he gave a mere 3 to 4 minutes to the people of Manipur, to our sisters of Manipur.
Allow me an interjection here. How is it that the Prime Minister made fun of Manipur? Substantiate that argument if you're making that argument.
Absolutely, yeah. I will. In his speech of 2 hours, 13 minutes, if you noticed, he was attacking the opposition. That is his nature, that is his standard operating procedure, so that's perfectly fine. But yesterday was not the day for making fun of the opposition. At the moment the opposition, disgusted by his men and women cheering him on, clapping when we were talking about Manipur, we kept calling him out, kept asking him to speak on Manipur. He refused to speak, right? And when the opposition staged a walkout, he immediately came to Manipur. And if you notice his body language in that fraction of a second, he was taken aback. He didn't expect it.
No.
He wouldn't have taken the name of Manipur.
Sujata ji, you're arguing, and correct me if I've understood it correctly, that the fact that the Prime Minister was taking pot shots at the opposition is an insult to Manipur. Is that a plausible argument you're making?
Absolutely, because when Manipur is burning, our sisters are getting raped. Two communities have been seared, have a sword seared through them, and they cannot look at each other. They cannot stand each other. There is no communication between them. The chief minister has not been removed. The prime minister does not appeal for peace. That means he wants this to happen. And I've said this on your programs many times, Anusha, that he wants this violence to continue. Otherwise, he
See,
could have
Sujata
stopped
ji,
it. He's the prime minister.
there's one pointed argument that you're making, that why the chief minister has not been removed, and I'll take it to the BJP as well. I want to clarify one point that you mentioned of the optics in the beginning. I was quoting merely BJP. I'm not in politics right now for me to say whether Rahul Gandhi or the prime minister was indulging into optics. That was the argument of the BJP, what was said on the floor of the house. My second point to you, which is rather a more substantial point. Many political commentators, responsible citizens and journalists like me who were watching the proceedings, we were happy with the fact that yes, Manipur is being taken up with full rigor enforced by the opposition parties, and yes, it's an issue that needs to be debated on the floor of the House. The Prime Minister is about to speak. Why didn't the opposition, including the Congress party, have the patience to listen to the full speech of the Prime Minister, then criticize it, call it out on its problems or the problems that he has not addressed, and then perhaps take a stand, walk out? Is that what this entire no confidence motion was all about?
Anusha, it would have been the best thing to happen. But if the Prime Minister spoke for 2 hours and 13 minutes and the opposition walked out after 1 hour 45 minutes, tell me why did they have to walk out? Because for this duration, the Prime Minister refused to speak about Manipur. He kept asking his men and women to cheer him, to jeer at the opposition when the issue was Manipur. If you remember when Mr. Gaurav Gogoi brought the proposition, what did he say? He moved the motion saying that there are 3 pointed questions that I'm asking you. Why did you not go to Manipur? He didn't answer that. He asked, why is it that you haven't appealed for peace? He didn't answer it. And he asked why Biren Singh has not been removed. These questions remain unanswered even now. And if the opposition hadn't moved out, he wouldn't have spoken at all.
All right.